Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 9th of June. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast presented, as always, by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And, of course, we're coming at you today after the Panthers win their first ever Stanley Cup Final game. It took 7 tries, but here we are, and the Panthers win an absolute thriller last night in front of the home crowd who couldn't deserve it more. The Panthers are in this series. They cut the series lead 2-1, setting up for a monster Game 4 tomorrow night. The biggest game. Every game now is the biggest game in franchise history. The biggest game in franchise history tomorrow night. The good times continue to roll on because tonight we have another championship game. It's down at Kaseya Center as the Miami Heat are going to look to even their best of 7 series again with the Denver Nuggets tonight. So, as excited as we are about the Panthers from last night, and we're going to spend a lot of the show today on the Panthers reacting to last night. I mean, who the hell needed down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals? You think I needed down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals? You think I needed that shit in my life? You think I needed to wake up this morning down 3-0 after the season that the Panthers are having, after the joy that they're bringing all of us? Down 3-0. You think I needed that shit in my life? You didn't need that in your life. Well, thanks to heroics from Matthew Tkachuk, from Carter Verhaeghe, nobody has that in their life this morning. So the Panthers have a ton of life, and tomorrow night, again, we're in the pressure cooker. So, by the way, today, Meadowlark Media, Basketball Illuminati, Tom Haberstroh, he's going to join us today. We'll talk about what's going on with the Heat, his thoughts on tonight, what lineups are working for the Heat, what's not working for the Heat. So we'll get our pal Tom Haberstroh on the show. Basketball Illuminati, Meadowlark Media. You guys listen to him with Amin El Hassan. He's great. We'll get Tom on the show, and we'll talk majority Heat basketball. Well, majority of Heat basketball talk on the show today. We will talk with Tom Haberstroh. It's Friday. That means we got big movie, not a big movie. We got big game, not a big game. You know how it goes. There's so much going on. And hell, we got a bunch of movies too. I saw Across the Spider-Verse the other day. I'll get to that coming up. Obviously, and we got to do a little bit on Messi. Hey, the most famous soccer player in the world is going to play for Inter Miami. It's still crazy. Absolutely crazy. So anyway, we got some Messi stuff to get to. But the Panthers, let me get this out there right now so I don't forget. So we have Game 4 tomorrow night. FLA Live Arena. I told you, courtesy of Sheets and Giggles, we're doing like a pregame hangout kind of deal. I tweeted this out yesterday, but you can also go to @SheetsGiggles and you can check it out. So we're doing a hangout starting at 4 p.m. There's going to be an open bar. I mean, not unlimited, but there's an open bar up to a certain number of people. You can register at the link, all right? So there's going to be a cutoff, so you want to go and register. If you want to come hang out with us, Quarterdeck in Sunrise. It's right across the street from FLA Live Arena. Obviously, my man Colin, founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles, he's throwing this party. He's taking me to the game with him tomorrow night. It'll be my first ever Stanley Cup Final game. Haven't been to a playoff game even this year, all right? It'll be my overall 7th playoff game. I'm 3-3 at Panther playoff games. Lifetime. It'll be my 7th time at a Panther playoff game, my first ever Stanley Cup Final game. So, really appreciate my man Colin, founder and CEO, Sheets and Giggles. He's taking me with him tomorrow night. But before all that, I want you guys to come and hang out. Now, if you want to get in on the bar tab, you got to go register, all right? So go to @SheetsGiggles. You'll see the link, and you make an RSVP, all right? There's also a place where, and no one's being charged anything, but there's also a place where you can make an optional donation, all right? And donations are going to go to, how about this, Jason Jackson, the Jax Fam Foundation. Colin is directing the donations optional to the Jack Spam Foundation. So that's really cool. So and even if you don't get in on the RSVP, for the bar tab, I still want you guys to come and hang out. So if you're a ZASLOW Show 2.0 listener, you're a Panther fan, stay and watch the game at Quarterdeck, or come on out to Quarterdeck, hang out, and then we're all going to go to the game afterward. We can all ride in a huge Uber together right across the street to the game. So I'm going to be there. Chris Cody's going to be there. Maybe Greg Cody's going to be there. Sheets and Giggles, great sponsor of the Greg Cody Show podcast with Greg Cody. And listen, for anyone who thinks there's any kind of bad blood between the Codys and the Zaslows, not the case. We're all on the same team. It's a truce with the Codys. For now. We're all on the same team. We're on the team of Sheets and Giggles. We're on the team of the Florida Panthers. So a truce with the Codys, and I hope that everybody comes out. Quarterdeck, 4 p.m. up until game time tomorrow. Quarterdeck and Sunrise. And that, of course, is courtesy of Sheets and Giggles. Everybody knows, of course, the ZASLOW family are 4 of over 100,000 Americans who are sleeping on Sheets and Giggles. You want to get in on Sheets and Giggles too. I sleep like a baby every single night now. SheetsGiggles.com. All right, I hope we see everybody out there. We'll get to some Heat stuff. We'll get to some messy stuff. Let's get right. Last night was unbelievable. What an experience. The Panthers, like my initial thought after the game last night, I'm so proud of them. They're giving us so much joy. And this is why sports are great. Like, people have asked me before, why do you care so much about sports? And it's moments like last night that you point at. This Panther team, they're giving us so much joy. Like, I get goosebumps just saying that. And we have such great fans. Carter Verhaeghe mentioned this after the game last night. We have such great fans. People bust on Panther fans. I'm so glad that all the talk of moving the team to Quebec, like that's all over. Like, none of that's ever going to come up again. We have a great fan base. They've just been treated like shit. Not the ownership, the team, for so long. Yeah, that snake oil salesman, Michael Yormark, just been treated like shit for so long. But there are so many great Panther fans who have waited these 27 years. I mean, that's a prison sentence. Have waited these 27 years. You could kill someone. You get out of jail quicker in between Panther Stanley Cup Final appearances. We have such great fans, and I'm so happy for all of them. That this team is bringing us so much joy. And last night is one of those nights that you point at. This is why I love sports so much. Look how happy everyone was. I got goosebumps just telling you guys about it right now. I'm so thrilled. And last night was such a great / frustrating experience as well, which ended really, really great. So, you had this, I felt great about the game. Great start to the game the first 15 minutes in. Brandon Montour scores 5 minutes in. He gets on the board. He hadn't scored since the first round, I think it was. So Montour gets in. He's a new dad. That's awesome. Panthers are up 1-0. And then the last 5 minutes, and then into the first few minutes of the second period, just a disaster. I thought we were going to go into the first intermission feeling great about the way the Panthers opened this game. And instead, I was demoralized. Because, yes, it was 1-1, okay, but it was 1-0. It should have been Panthers going on the power play late in the first period because Gudis was boarded. And instead, he takes a really bad penalty. And they said on the broadcast he may not have known that the referee's hand was up. So instead, he's retaliating. But either way, you can't do that at this point. You can't do that down 2-0. So he then picks up the cross-check penalty. And instead of being up 1-0 and going on the power play, it's 1-0, it's 4-on-4, and then Duclair takes a terrible tripping penalty. They wind up scoring 4-on-3, and it's 1-1 now going into the second intermission. Going into the first intermission, going into the second period. And Then early in the second period, you got Barkov, who takes a penalty, and they score there. So it's 2-1. Like, we're going to lose this series because of something. We're going to get swept in this series because of something that has been a major problem all year, and they just can't get under control. And it's like they're unraveling with the penalties that they're taking. And I'm like, we're down 2-1 now after 2 periods, and we're dead. I mean, I think we're dead. You know, and here's the thing. Vegas is better than us. They are. They're awesome. And you got Marchessault, who's killing us 6 years later after former Panthers general manager Dale Talon just gave him away to the Vegas Knights. He stunk, Dale Talon. And Marchessault, all these years later, is just murdering us. And Vegas is better than us. But that's not the way this works, right? That's why the Stanley Cup playoffs are so good. Because yes, Vegas is better, but that doesn't mean they're winning the series. It does. If you keep the game close, and if you got a goalie who could stand on his head, Sergei Bobrovsky was sensational last night. As great a performance as he's had this postseason. Has he had games that he's been better? I mean, he had a shutout this postseason against Carolina, right? Has he had games where he's been better? Yes, but last night was his most important game of his career. The Panthers had to win that game last night. And Sergei Bobrovsky, even down 2-1, is keeping the Panthers in this game. A game they had no business hanging around in. A game they had no business not being down 5-1 instead of 2-1. Sergei Bobrovsky was phenomenal last night. So any of that talk, any of that conversation about, you know, Bobrovsky turning into a pumpkin, he's back to what he was in the regular season, he's back to what he's been the past few years. Nope. He was fantastic last night and kept the Panthers in this game, in a game that they had no business being in, and against a team who they are not as good as. But that's not how the Stanley Cup playoffs work. You know, in the NBA, if you are being outplayed by the other team, you get Game 3 Heat Nuggets, and they kick our ass. That's not how it necessarily works in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Bobrovsky keeps this team in the game, and it's like, all right, we're approaching 3 minutes. Bobrovsky's going to leave that net. He's going to wind up getting out of there soon. And then he does with what, like 240, 245-ish. Bobrovsky's out because the Panthers have full control. And I said to my son, all right, because I'm watching with Jordan, my younger son, I said, this is it. This is the series right here. And we're both standing up now at this point. And like he's done for us all postseason, Matthew Tkachuk comes up so huge.
Drives it across. Tkachuk!
The keep in by Barkov. Verhaeghe throws it to the front of the net. The shot blocked by White Cloud. And if Florida goes to work, and look at Matthew Tkachuk. Gets inside position on Zach White Cloud. Fortunate bounce. Second chance opportunity. And right off the camera in the net.
And what else is new, right? Tkachuk just continues to keep the Panthers alive in these playoffs. So many clutch goals throughout.
How about Dad Keith Tkachuk with the red wine, the glass of red wine? He's classy as hell, Keith Tkachuk. So we're jumping around the ZASLOW Mansion family room. We're in this baby. We're in it. Tkachuk ties it. We got a shot here. They pull the goalie, and just right away, they end up getting the game-tying score. And then you get the bullshit. Now, the Panthers, look, they're at fault plenty, taking terrible penalties throughout the series, taken bad penalties even this game. But that is some bullshit officiating to call that penalty, and it was so chintzy. I mean, first they called it on Barkov, the trip, where it wasn't a trip on Barkov, and then they ended up giving it to Forsling, which was the right guy to give it to. If it were a trip, he didn't stick his toe out. He's skating normal. And the other player runs into his toe and falls over. I mean, it looked like it could have been a dive too, to be perfectly honest with you. Can you imagine the series essentially ends because of bullshit. That's what just happened. The officiating has stunk in these Stanley Cup Finals. And so it was with 11 seconds left in the third. So it's going to go into overtime. So we go to the intermission, all right? But here's the thing. I felt surprisingly good going into the overtime because I felt like, yes, could the series essentially end because the officials made a bullshit call late in the third period with seconds remaining? Yes. But I also felt, you know what? We're going to have karma on our side now. We're taking bullshit penalties, that's for sure. But that right there was not one of them. And that's garbage from that referee. And you know what? We're going to have the good karma coming in our direction right now. We're going to kill off this penalty and we're going to score. I really felt okay about it going into overtime. I felt like we had the good karma and they do a great job killing off the penalty. And then just a couple minutes after that, right back in this series.
Bennett, cross ice, shot, with his fourth career playoff overtime goal, his second this season. The Panthers win Game 3.
The Panthers are 7-0 in overtime this postseason. Staying clutch. Carter Verhaeghe, that was as clutch a win in the history of South Florida sports. They needed it so freaking bad. They get the goal to tie it with the extra skater, the goalie pulled, Matthew Tkachuk. He's been clutch as hell. And Carter Verhaeghe, another overtime winner. He had the overtime winner to win the series last year in the first round against the Capitals. He's got the greatest goal in the history of the Florida Panthers now. Game 7 in overtime, first round this year against Boston, and then does it again last night. As clutch a win we have ever had in the history of South Florida sports. And Carter Verhaeghe, yes, Matthew Tkachuk is in the running there, but Verhaeghe might be the most clutch player in the history of the Florida Panthers now. Winning the series last year in Washington, hadn't won a series in 26 years. Then this year, completing the comeback against Boston, Game 7 in Boston, and last night, the first ever Stanley Cup Finals win, and Carter Verhaeghe just rifles it past Adin Hill. As clutch a moment in the history of South Florida sports, and Carter Verhaeghe, big-time clutch player, and we're jumping around the ZASLOW Mansion family room. Me and my son, we're hugging. And you know what? Going into the game yesterday, I told you, our big guns need to be huge. Matthew Tkachuk was huge. Brandon Montour was huge. Carter Verhaeghe was huge. Our big guns, and Bobrovsky, our big guns needed to be huge, and in the biggest moments, they came up enormous last night. That shit was awesome. Oh my God. And you know what? I'd like to wake up this morning, and look, I'm so excited, obviously. I'd like to wake up this morning and just be super excited about the Panthers. Instead, I need to get my act together, and I'm scared to death about that massive loaf of bread that the Heat have to deal with tonight. Can I get 24 hours where I could celebrate the Panthers? Instead, I'm in the pressure cooker again tonight, dealing with this Jokic. But last night, oh man, that shit was so good. So good. I'm so proud of the team. I'm happy for the Panther fan. Just an incredible night. And tomorrow night, I'll see you there. Biggest game in Panther franchise history. And hopefully you come out to the quarter deck before the game. The quarter deck there in Sunrise. You can come hang out. I'm going to be there. My man Colin from Sheets and Giggles. The Codys are going to be there. I think Juju Gotti's going to be there. Likely he's not going to hat shame me because I'm not wearing any hats anymore. He'll probably shame whatever clothes I'm wearing, although I think we're rocking a Panther jersey, right? I think that's what we got to do. So, anyway, tomorrow's going to be so great. Oh, I'm not going to the Heat game tonight. Remember, I did tell you I was trying to go. And yes, that's true. I was trying to go. Everybody knows when I'm trying to go, that means I'm looking for the hookup. I was trying to go to the Heat game tonight. Didn't work out. So, we'll just watch it from home. That's totally fine. I'll enjoy the game at home. Hey, I want to tell you guys, you know we got amazing sponsors on this show. They're all super huge South Florida sports fans, so I love that part. If you have a water leak in your home, that could wind up being big-time damage. You got to get to it before any of that happens. And that's why I tell you, call or text Water Cleanup of Florida. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. My boys, the Greensteins, I send you to them. They're family friends. I grew up with them, and they have over 60 years of combined experience. Water Cleanup of Florida will handle all types of leak detection issues. After the leak has been located and repaired, they're not done. Water Cleanup of Florida is then going to clean, dry, and fully restore all the damaged areas. So you don't need to bring in other contractors. They're handling the entire project from start to finish. Water Cleanup of Florida serves the entire Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, fully licensed, insured, and certified to provide that one-stop shopping that all of us business owners and homeowners require. You can follow them on all the social medias. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida, we clean up your schmutz. Yes. All right. So we're going to talk Heat basketball with Tom Haberstroh. Before we get to that, and we're going to tell you the big game's coming up. Don't worry. I know you guys are getting antsy. It's a very big weekend. So I want to tell you a little bit about... So Lionel Messi is coming here to Miami. All right. It's like the biggest sports news in the world the last couple of days. And the details are still like super sketch. Don't know when he's going to start playing. We're hoping it's going to be this summer. It seems that... So Inter Miami's playing in like a League Cup tournament at some point here this season. And it seems like that first game against Cruz Azul, I think is the team name. Like they're saying that could be the first game. Now that's not a game that is included in the Inter Miami season ticket package. The second half, okay, let me try and explain this. So they think that game could be the game. Go look up the ticket prices for that game. It's at Dry Pink Stadium. The cheapest ticket to get in is like $2,400. So it feels like that may be the game that he debuts. And I don't know if he'll only play in those League Cup games, which is 2 or 3 games, or if he'll then play with the club the rest of the season. I don't know. But only one more regular season game, which I think is next weekend, is available for purchase on Ticketmaster. Single game tickets. He's not going to play in that game. He's not going to play yet. None of the other regular season game, single game tickets are for sale yet. I noticed, I think I talked about this, I noticed before the season, right? Even though I'm a season ticket holder and I have all my tickets, for single game tickets, I noticed this before the season started. Single game tickets were only on sale for the first half of the year, up until July. Why would that be? Now, there's been rumors for a couple years now, right? About Lionel Messi joining Inter Miami. And so, and I'm pretty sure we talked about this. That got me excited because is it possible, and it clearly was the case, that Inter Miami feels they have a real shot at landing Messi, so they're not putting the second half of the tickets, the single game tickets, up for sale yet because they want to wait till he joins the team. Then you put those tickets on sale and jack up the prices. And look what happened. That's exactly what happened. They held off on those tickets because they felt they were going to land Messi. And if they do, they will eventually put those tickets for sale at astronomical prices. Now, like I said, it's whatever to me. I don't know if you know, I'm an inaugural season ticket holder. But those are going to be expensive tickets. Expensive tickets. And look, I've never done this before. Like when I was a Heat season ticket holder, I've never sold my tickets for profit. I've never done that. I haven't. I've never, ever done that. We will be doing that for at least a couple games. How could you not? We'll be doing that a couple games here for Inter Miami. Like the first game that he debuts, that's going to be a crazy ticket. I already told my friend who I split the tickets, it's like, hey, what do you want to do? If the tickets are selling for like $1,000 each, are we going to go to the debut or are we going to sell them? I already texted him. I said, listen, I made an executive decision. We're selling those. We'll go to plenty games. I think there's 9 more home games. We'll go to plenty games. But believe me, we're going to sell a couple of them. God, how could you not? And like I said yesterday, it's so cool where the difference between when LeBron announced that he was coming to the Heat and when Messi announced he's coming to Inter Miami, I was super excited for LeBron, not because it's LeBron, it's because of what LeBron is going to do for the Heat. Like, if LeBron came here and the Heat didn't win at least one championship, it'd have been a massive disappointment. I was excited for LeBron for what he's going to do because we're going to win championships now. That's not what I'm excited about with Messi. I really don't care if Inter Miami wins a championship with Messi. It's not going to be a disappointment, for me at least, if Inter Miami doesn't win a championship. Now, maybe that's because Inter Miami's only been around for a few years, and at that point, the Heat had been around for, what are we talking, like, I don't know, 20 years? 22 years at that point? Whatever it was. Like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to be upset. Like, it's not going to be a failure if Inter Miami doesn't win a championship. It would have been a failure if LeBron didn't win with the Heat. I just want to watch Messi. I didn't just want to watch LeBron. I wanted to watch LeBron win on the Heat. Here, I just want to watch Messi. I just want to, he's on my favorite soccer team now. I get to watch the greatest soccer player in the world, who we love in this house, because I've told you, my wife's family is Argentinian, so we've always loved Messi. But not the way, obviously you got so many Argentinians down here. I've seen these videos. Like some people, you don't understand, maybe you don't understand what this guy means to so many people. There are videos they put on the news where you saw like there was this one family who told their daughter when she got home from school, they're clearly Argentinian, who told their daughter at Inter Miami that they signed Messi. And the kid is hysterically crying. This kid's like 9 years old. And this little girl is hysterically crying for what this guy means to these people. It's remarkable. Here's the thing. How about this? So I happened to notice recently my Twitter. So a few days ago, or what was it, 2 days ago, whatever it was, 2 or 3 days ago, Messi announced he's coming here to Miami. In the last 2 days, I've gained almost 4,000 Twitter followers, which makes no sense in the span of a couple days. And then I'm doing a deep dive into who these people are. It's all soccer stuff. It's all people who follow soccer, love Messi, and they want to follow South Florida people who are going to talk about Messi. So in just 2 days, I've gained 4,000 Twitter followers. That's not normal. That's the effect that he's already having down here. And that's just a stupid thing involving my stupid Twitter. Amazing, right? So the Heat tonight, oh, the Panthers, that shit was, oh my God, so good. And like I said, God forbid I could enjoy this Panther win for 24 hours. Instead, I'll be sweating out this Heat game tonight. And by the way, I feel like, I'm not going to say I feel good about the Heat tonight. But I do think the Heat are going to win. It's hard to feel like you could think the Heat are going to win, like I do, but it's hard to feel good about the Heat. The Nuggets are really good, and they kicked our ass the other night. So it's hard to feel good about the Heat tonight. But I do think they're going to win. And I do think we're going to get right back in this series. How about this? The Heat have lost 3 straight NBA Finals home games. That's bad. Games 3 and 4 in 2014, San Antonio. And of course, the other night, the Heat have lost 3 straight NBA Finals home games. It's bad. Got to snap that shit tonight. You think I need 4 straight home NBA Finals losses in my life? I think I need that in my life. Come on. Let's go. And I will say this. I was listening this morning. Listen to a show on ESPN Radio last night. It's on weeknights at 7 o'clock called Joe and Amber. Great show. Great girl, Amber Wilson. And I thought she made a really good point where the Nuggets got an historic performance in winning Game 3. Jokic and Murray, first time ever, same game. Not first time in the finals. First time in NBA history. Yes, Jokic was the first player in NBA Finals history with a 30-20 triple-double. But this is the first time in NBA history you had 2 30-point triple-doubles in the same game. And it happened in the finals. So the Nuggets got an historic performance en route to a Game 3 win. If you don't get an historic performance, you're probably getting a close game. And we like the Heat in close games. I thought that was a good point you made. That's a good point. That's a good point. So, you can't believe that the Nuggets are going to get another historic performance. And if that's the case, I love the Heat in close games. The Heat have been phenomenal in close games this postseason. The Heat, now because they were outscored by a point in Game 3 in the fourth quarter, are a plus 89 this postseason in the fourth quarter. The Heat are great in the fourth quarter. They're great in close games all year long, by the way. So, I don't feel good about the Heat tonight, but I think they're going to win. It's hard to feel good. The Nuggets, with what they did to us. All right. We'll get to Haberstroh in a moment here. First, though, we'll talk about the Heat, the Panthers, and you guys are probably saying to yourself, yo, ZASLOW, I got to know. Is it a big game? Or is it not a big game? Big game or not a big game? Every Friday, I'm going to let you know what's going on this weekend. Big game or not a big game, always brought to us by our friends at Brunt Insurance. If you're looking for affordable care, you want to get the best rates on your homeowner's insurance, car insurance, motorcycle, boat insurance, bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. Brunt Insurance, #1 rated insurance agency in all of Florida, top 5 in the country. And that's because, look, wherever you're calling from Pensacola to the Keys, Brunt Insurance has you covered. You call them at 954-589-2204. The market's confusing if you're going to try and do this on your own. That's why you go to Brunt Insurance and his fully licensed staff. They know the area that you're calling from. They're going to make sure you're covered from top to bottom. They're going to get you coverage you don't even know that you need. That's why you go to Brunt Insurance. I've been getting my homeowner's insurance with Brunt Insurance for almost 10 years now. It's the only insurance agency I'm ever going to use. And once you call them and you see the discounts that you're going to get from what you were previously paying, yeah, they're the only insurance company you're ever going to use as well. Bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. Let's get to big game or not a big game. First up, tonight, 8 p.m., Fox, WWE SmackDown. That's right. Huge SmackDown tonight. The Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. He will be on the show for the second week in a row. And the big story, after last week, what's Jimmy Uso going to do? Jimmy Uso, he betrayed Roman Reigns. Actually, it's what's Jey Uso going to do. Jimmy betrayed Roman Reigns. And now, is Jimmy going to fall in line with the Tribal Chief? Or is he also going to betray his Tribal Chief and side with his brother, Jimmy Uso? Huge decision coming tonight for Jey. WWE SmackDown, that's a big game. Know it. All right. Tonight, 8:10, Bally Sports, Florida. Miami Marlins at Chicago White Sox. The Marlins, 35-28, winners of 6 in a row. They've swept their last 2 series. Terrible teams. Oakland, Kansas City. The White Sox are 8 games under. They're also bad. You got the rookie, Yuri Perez, on the hill tonight. He's been pretty good. Can the Marlins make it 7 straight wins? I mean, no one's paying attention because of everything that's going on with the Heat and Panthers. But you know what? Marlins, White Sox? No, it's not a big game. I can't do it. If I'm not going to be focused on it, how could it be a big game? I got to be fair. It's not a big game. All right. Big game or not a big game? Tonight, 8:30, ABC. Denver Nuggets at your Eastern Conference champion, Miami Heat, Game 4. The Heat are going to snap their 3-game home losing streak in the NBA Finals. You're going to get a big performance from Jimmy Butler. Bam's going to do his thing defensively on Nikola Jokic. Vincent's going to bounce back. You got that bum-ass Tony Brothers. He's not officiating the game tonight. Max Strus, Duncan Robinson. It's going to be bombs away, and the crowd's going to be on fire tonight. Nuggets at Heat, Game 4. That's a big game. You know it. All right, everybody settle down. Saturday, 7:30, Apple Plus. Inter Miami at New England Revolution. Now, Inter Miami, last place in the Eastern Conference. This will be the second game for the interim coach. Inter Miami did beat New England earlier in the season. Nonetheless, until Messi joins them, this team is shit. Inter Miami at New England, not a big game. Can't convince me otherwise. Finally, I got time for one more. Saturday night, 8 p.m., TNT, live from FLA Live Arena. The Vegas Golden Knights at your Eastern Conference champion, Florida Panthers, Game 4. The Panthers are back in this series. They have a chance to even the best-of-7 series if they protect the home ice again tomorrow night. Sergei Bobrovsky back in this series after a sensational performance last night. Will tomorrow night be the game that Sasha Barkov lights the lamp? Hagee saved us in overtime last night, first goal of the series. Kachuk now, 2 straight games of the goal. It's Barkov's turn tomorrow night. I think we're getting a big effort from the captain tomorrow night, and the Panthers will even this best-of-7 series. Stanley Cup Finals at 2 games apiece. I'll be there. My first ever Stanley Cup Final game. Knights at Panthers, Game 4. That's a big game. And that right there is another edition of Big Game or Not a Big Game. Wow. Brought to us by Brunt Insurance. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204.